The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
Good.
Good. I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
All the way.
Woohoo!
Well, it's special season, I guess, isn't it? In the podcasting regime here at Hot.wampa. What we've done, Celebration Europe, we've done the London Film and Comic Con, and now we've got another Rogue One trailer to have a good look at and digest and talk about that. So here we are, not back to our normal conventional formula yet, but you're getting a podcast of some sort from us anyway, because we've got the recently released, well, yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, Friday, wasn't it? Friday in the UK. I don't know if it was Thursday night in the USA, but it was during their Olympic coverage, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was NBC channel, their coverage of the Olympics. It aired for that, so obviously it was released at such a time that it's prime time for the US audience, isn't it? And,
yeah.
I mean, we were probably tucked up in bed when this came out.
That's right.
So we've had the trailer now for a day or so, and well, I think the best thing we can probably do, and what we've found works before, is if we sort of try to go through the trailer scene by scene and talk about the scenes. So let's have a quick. This is the second official trailer, is it?
Yeah, and we had a couple of teasers this week, didn't we, as well? That sort of previewing the trailer. So you know they're really going for it. Disney at the moment promoting this film, which is obviously going to be a big money maker for them in December, isn't it?
It's a trailer for a trailer. Yeah. Only Star Wars can do a trailer for a trailer. I want to know when the film poster comes out for the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will we get a post-it note for the poster?
So yeah, only Star Wars can do it with Rogue One, but we've got a ton of new content in this trailer that we can talk about and digest. So let's kick that off and let's just go through the trailer scene by scene. First scene looks like some sort of cityscape with ships and the likes flying about on that cityscape. I'm not 100% sure where this is. TIE fighters, shuttles.
There's a big Imperial presence, isn't there?
Yeah.
What I've got is it's possibly the desert landscape of the planet Jeddah, which is a holy land for those who follow the Force. However, what's key here is the smattering of Imperial fighters in the sky. Gareth Edwards revealed Jeddah is under Imperial occupation during the events of Rogue One, as there is something very important in Jeddah that serves both the Jedi and the Empire.
Right, because you first, I think view you form on seeing that scene, it looks like a cityscape, so you think about a metropolitan planet a bit like Coruscant or somewhere like that, but then you see as the camera pans, it's obviously on a cliff ledge, so this isn't like a planet-wide city. So like you say, it's obviously an established world somewhere in what's become the Empire's galactic order. Next scene, we've got Forrest Whitaker in it?
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker.
And Felicity Jones in discourse. Star Destroyer in atmosphere.
Is that a temple there, do you think?
It looks like something, isn't it?
Well, Felicity Jones, Jyn Erso is the character, and Forrest Whitaker is Saw Gerrera, so the characters here. Another thing that I found, if the rumours are true, this temple or this place that the Empire are arriving at could be the source of kyber crystals used in lightsabers, and more tellingly to power the Death Star's super laser.
Ah, now that would make sense, wouldn't it? That if they were obviously building a super weapon of some sort, which has got a weapon, it's beyond exception. It's got capabilities that aren't conventional in terms of the super laser and that. Obviously, it probably would require specific resources.
Yeah.
And the Empire going around trying to obtain those resources around the galaxy. I mean, we've seen so far a cityscape which is establishing the reach and extent of the Empire's rule, I think.
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker and dialogue there, obviously he's a sage character. He's giving you a bit of the background and the overview of the galaxy. And now we're going into this Star Destroyer hovering over that, what you say could be a temple or something over a more rural, backwards looking world.
Yeah.
So it's possible they're looking for resources. So let's play on from that scene.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major...
Rebel briefing room there. We've got Mon Mothma.
Yeah, Mon Mothma played by Genevieve O'Reilly this time round.
Who's the same actress, I believe, that's in Revenge of the Sith, isn't she?
Yeah, that's right. So
yeah.
She's obviously quite popular within Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm. And we've got Diego Luna's character there, the rebel captain. He's keeping very quiet in that scene. He's obviously considering what he's got to do and how to approach the character of Jyn Erso, the rebel general, I believe it is, from the Strepsils type badge on his tunic.
Yeah, nice little lozenge there.
Obviously questioning the merit of having Jyn Erso on board because she's a bit of a scoundrel and does things her own way.
Yep.
Whether somebody of that repute should be trusted with such a mission, who knows? I mean, we've kind of seen the tactical displays, and this is Yavin 4, isn't it? The fourth moon of the gas giant Yavin. In that briefing room there, we've kind of seen glimpses of this so far in trailers and reels before, haven't we? So that's nothing too new. It's transitioning into the scene where the Star Destroyer is coming out of the shade of the super weapon getting installed on the Death Star, which kind of ties in a bit more with what you've said there, that perhaps they've built the superstructure and it's just like the finishing touches.
I think that with this Star Destroyer, I mean, I love what Gareth Edwards has done with the shadow and it coming out. I think the same with The Force Awakens. There were some familiar vehicles, but shot in different ways. And being in space, why shouldn't it be underneath or from the front, from the top, behind a planet, etc. And I think that's really interesting.
I think, I mean, there's a few more scenes in this trailer that are a bit like that. The way they shot is very interesting. I mean, obviously we can talk about that as we come across it. But I think somebody said for Abrams on The Force Awakens that Abrams, I mean, I don't know, I haven't seen that many of his Star Trek films, etc., his back catalogue. But he does have a habit of panning out to broaden landscapes. So you'd have a close-up of a detail, let's say on Star Trek, of the Enterprise bridge section, and it'd slowly pan out to encompass the whole ship and then whatever space environment that it was in the background to give you that expansive shot. This seems a little bit more intimate. It seems close up and it's more about the sort of in-your-face texture. Because like you said, we've got the Star Destroyer coming out of shade here. I mean, this is filling up most of the screen here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
For the effect shot. Still filling most of the screen against the Death Star, and then you've got the Death Star with the super weapon getting installed. New ship. Is this the U-wing, perhaps? Yeah,
I believe so. That features quite a lot in the film, apparently. So we saw Diego Luna there saying he wanted to help. He plays Captain Cassian Andor. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's obviously been won over by Jyn Erso, hasn't he? a lot.
There's something. I mean, he isn't being critical of her in the way that Rebel General, possibly in her undertones, Mon Mothma is being of her. He's being quite open to it, like, okay, well, let's work together, let's do this type attitude. So perhaps there's some merit to her, or he knows something about her that he sees the merit in having her on this mission. She obviously has some sort of specialist role to fulfill. I think this a lot with a lot of the cast, or the character cast, if you will, of Rogue One, that each one of these guys has a specific aptitude or merit as to why they're in this team, obviously. And I think as we go on in the trailer, we'll know that a lot of them have got individual reasons why they're driven to rebel against the Empire. This new ship, I don't know that it is, but I've heard talk of a U-wing. I imagine if it is a U-wing, that the U-wing would be a fighter, like an X-wing or a Y-wing, B-wing, A-wing, etc., etc. This looks more like some form of shuttle or utility vehicle.
Yeah.
I think from this scene, we go into the next scene, which is Diego Luna and Felicity Jones in the cockpit. Yeah, it's good.
It looks more like a transporter ship there, doesn't it?
Yeah, a utility ship or a shuttle of some sort. I think in a scene later on we see the team dismounting from this ship. So, I mean, obviously if it is the U-wing, which we're not saying it is, but that's what some of the talk is out there, the U-wing isn't a fighter, it's a utility craft or a shuttle of some sort. We've got Jyn Erso in a hood. I guess this is on a planet which could get back to your planet again that you mentioned earlier.
And we've got a stormtrooper, so she's trying to sort of hide herself from him. Probably.
Yeah, she's trying to perhaps look like one of the local punters. She's in a crowded scene of some sort. Quick run through of her team.
All is as the Force wills it.
He looks cool, doesn't he?
He does look cool, yeah. So that's Donnie Yen, isn't it? Who's the he's blind. From that, he sounds like he's Force sensitive, or
Force sensitive, if not strictly Jedi. He's obviously got in touch with it somehow, and that's guiding his moves because he's pretty tasty with that sword there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of, I think of some sort of samurai Shaolin sort of crossover. So
that's
the influence for this guy. Totally fearless there, walking in, I fear nothing, you know, right into a crowd of stormtroopers. Obviously they're a bit shocked, he's blind, they don't expect him to be a handful.
That's right.
He looks like a really cool and interesting character, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if he will be the most entertaining character, but certainly in a battle, it'll be interesting seeing him take out many stormtroopers as we do in a moment, I think.
Yeah, how's this bladed weapon like that going through armour?
I don't know. I
mean, they seem chopped up there.
Yeah,
they're not dismembered as such.
There's
obviously.
A pile of stormtroopers. So.
Yeah, he's sorted that lot out. He's got some moves on him, isn't he? But yeah, I mean, obviously it's been toned down a little bit. The actual trailer, I think, with the original trailer, we've already seen that scene of what looks like X-wing pilots walking through shackled up.
That's right. Yeah.
In the original trailer, if you look at the footage of it, and listeners will have to resource this for themselves, you can see that on some of the flight suits and stuff like this, like the white vest on the flight suit and stuff like that, that there's actual dirt and blood and stuff on the flight suits, which suggests they either had a difficult ejection, a crash landing, or a struggle against whatever forces have picked them up and shackled them. If you look on this trailer, exactly the same scene, that's all gone.
Okay, right.
So I would suggest this trailer's been toned down a little bit from earlier trailers to what we've seen. Whether that's a classification thing, I mean, I can't see what was in the earlier trailer which should make them worry about the classification of the film. I don't think it was that graphic, personally.
I think it's a potential audience, Dave, isn't it? I think that's the thing. You know, with The Force Awakens was quite light-hearted, fun family film. I think we all said that Rogue One looks more gritty, you know, the old Dirty Dozen in space kind of thing, and more of a war film. And many fans that we spoke to at Celebration were quite happy and looking forward to that. But you know, I know there've been a lot of reshoots as well, so maybe, you know, they have tried to tone it down. Because I put, when I first watched this one, that I'm happy with the trailer. It looks more light-hearted, and I think this one does.
Do you think?
Yeah, it does. There's a bit more comedy in it, a bit more. I don't know. It sounds like they're determined, the rebels. But I still think there's a sort of a little nudge and a wink in it. compared to the first Rogue One trailer?
I think it still looks quite gritty. I think it still has something of a sort of Band of Brothers, small unit, this is warfare and this is what it looks like sort of feeling to it to a degree. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's cute anymore. I think, yeah, you're right. It probably has been toned back a little bit.
Yeah.
From earlier trailers and what we're seeing. The character Jyn Erso, Felicity Jones, in dialogue here with, I think it's Alan Tudyk's character, isn't it? The droid.
K2SO.
Yeah.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Jesus, how tall's that droid?
He's tall.
There you go.
There isn't much time.
Oh, brilliant.
Every day.
We just had the scene there of the Death Star in orbit, and we've just seen it passing in front of the sun, so it's almost like forming an eclipse, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the landscape getting darker. A new twist on a special effect, but quite a cool one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They've been quite playful in the past with the sunset, sunrise, things like that, but to actually have a Death Star go in front of the in the sun is great. Yeah,
it's such a simple special effect, but I don't know who thought of it. Why they hadn't thought of it before. It's genius. Let's just have an eclipse. The Death Star eclipsing the sun.
And I do think there's a lot of repetition in the earlier Star Wars films, which we love. But these guys are fans who've picked up the models and thought, hang on, we can do this. And they've actually rotated things, turned it around. What do you think of Alan Tudyk's droid then? Because he's an Imperial droid, isn't he? Who's been reprogrammed.
Right.
So in that one, he says, "I've been told you are a friend, so I will not kill you." So.
Well, what we'd heard earlier about the character and what I'd read online and seen in trailers and photographs and stuff like that, I thought the droid had looked a bit spindly and a bit feeble in the way it was physically built, and I couldn't imagine a droid like that being that. I mean, we talk about the battle droids and the prequels and that, but let's face it, they were cannon fodder anyway.
Yeah.
And you look at it and I thought to myself, well, is this thing really that dangerous? But I hadn't gauged from what I'd seen in the media prior, the height of the droid. So you look at it, it's like a good sort of 2, 3, 4 foot taller than Felicity Jones, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how tall Felicity Jones is.
About 5'6", I think.
But it's quite an imposing character, isn't it? So.
And the speed, we've seen it running down Canary Wharf in the other trailer, and it's pretty quick, isn't it? So
trying to catch that train.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cosplayer trying to get into the conventions. But yeah, I mean, it's quite tall. So I mean, I don't know what function it's going to serve in the team. It's not something you could hide away easily, obviously.
No.
Like you say, it's an Imperial droid. I think in that scene we can still see an Imperial emblem on its upper arm, on its shoulder.
That's right, yeah.
So is it perhaps because they can use that as an infiltrator?
Yeah.
Perhaps the Imperials have these droids, 12 to a dozen on worlds they occupy, and having one they've reprogrammed with a degree of intelligence that can imitate other droids, perhaps that helps them in that environment because it doesn't arouse suspicion.
Yeah.
Perhaps in a utility way, I don't know.
The best place to hide a leaf is in a forest, kind of thing.
Yeah. The best way to hide a building is in the middle of a city, kind of thing. It's hidden in plain sight. If you stick it in the middle of a desert, it will stand out like a sore thumb. So maybe that's the thinking behind it in terms of infiltration, espionage, that kind of thing. It's a useful asset. What do you think of the droid character?
I think, I like the look. It looks quite fun, but I'm sure it'll be heroic as well. I think it's going to be that kind of droid that kids are going to love. It's going to be that kind of get behind, the droid. He's going to have a few funny quips in the film. Alan Tudyk is a good actor and he's a good character actor. So I can see him bringing a lot of fun to the darker moments, perhaps.
Yeah, he's quite a light-hearted actor. I think we saw him as the pilot in Serenity / Firefly, didn't we? And he was the guy with the dodgy Hawaiian shirts and with, like you said, with the smart aleck quip and all the rest of it.
I mean, he was Pirate Steve in Dodgeball as well. It's quite funny. So,
children, action figures, I don't know. Says you're a friend, I won't kill you, etc., etc. The closest analogy I'm making in my own mind to this droid is the HK droid in the Knights of the Old Republic series, which was a tall, spindly droid which had a really deadpan, dry, sarcastic sense of humour, but it was basically an assassin droid. It could go out there and kick backside. So I'm kind of thinking perhaps that might have influenced this character a little bit, because that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from it. I don't think it's as cuddly or as child-friendly as possibly BB-8 or R2-D2 or something like that. this droid character is no Jar Jar Binks. I don't think this is strictly considering children.
So you're hoping that he's going to be more of a sort of soldier in a way, and a member of the team, rather than just a sort of a protocol droid or something like that.
Yeah, I think it will have a humour, but I think that humour will be more dry and deadpan. I think it will be more of a soldier's humour. I think, it'll kind of that humour that accepts its lot and makes a joke about its lot, sometimes resents its lot, but still does its job. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a bit more of an adult type sense of humour to this droid than what we've seen with like BB-8 or R2-D2, and I don't know. When we talk about these trailers and that getting toned down and them thinking of the potential market, I watch it, and to me, I'm still seeing something of a gritty war film in there, and that
there is, yeah.
They're only toning it down as much as they've been told to. They're not going to take a license and tone it down even further, because I don't think the producers of this film, the people that are working on this film, as opposed to the suits at Disney, want to dumb it down any further. No. I get the feeling they're thinking as much of the adult fans. And
I think this is a Star Wars film a lot of adults or second generation Star Wars fans really want to see. It is, it's going to be a bit more gritty, as you say. I mean, the scene we've just seen after the eclipse of the Death Star, it goes above the planet, and we've got Ben Mendelsohn's character with lots of Imperial suit types overlooking the planet. That's the
Disney board.
Yeah. He's director Orson Krennic is the name, and he looks quite menacing.
Which is a sinister title in itself, doesn't it? It sounds like he's some high-ranking SS type officer or something like that. I believe his role is he commands a specific special forces unit which is tasked with tracking down and eliminating rebel cells, because obviously the Rebel Alliance is like that. It's a Rebel Alliance, but it's underground, it's in different splinter groups, different factions. They might not even be unified under one command, but there is this open resistance in different places. So I imagine it's not as an organisation, but it's a scattered ideology, a common goal on different planets and different systems. So I imagine his job with his specialist unit is to go around and eliminate these various cells or various militias, various uprisings in different locations. But he looks like quite a serious and ruthless looking character, doesn't he?
Dressed in white, which is an interesting one, isn't it? Sort of opposing the darkness of Darth Vader. I think for a director as Gareth Edwards, it must be really difficult to connect all the nerve endings from this to a New Hope, and the other films. Because continuity in Star Wars is so important to the fans. Mm-hmm. So when you take on a project like this, which is sort of set in the middle, you're like, right, I've got to make sure that the continuity is there, because there are many things that we know will happen, because we've seen the future of these movies, right? But I think that's a really difficult project to take on.
Yeah, spoiler alert, but the rebels do get the plans.
Oh, really? Oh.
However, who delivers that?
Yeah.
And how many of this team actually survive?
That's the thing. I think there will be deaths. I think that's pretty certain.
I think this cast of our heroes, of our characters, is so unrelated to the ongoing timeline in both the prequels, the original trilogy, and The Force Awakens, that conceivably they could kill any of these characters off.
Yeah.
I mean, we've not had any hints or allusions to anyone getting killed off yet, but looking at it and looking at some of the bloody fighting later on, it's an entire possibility that not all of these characters are going to be there at the end, if any of them at all.
No, they are in a tight spot in quite a few situations.
I mean, there's a scene coming up later where we see a TIE fighter smashing into a viewport.
Yeah.
Or we already know in an earlier scene we've seen the Felicity Jones character of Jyn Erso in what we think is a TIE fighter flight suit.
Yeah.
Draw your own conclusions. I'm not saying, but I think there's a possibility that we're going to see a lot of key characters amongst our band here killed off in this film.
And where they might be a bit duplicitous in the past, we're going to see them become braver, more like heroic, I think, as the film goes on.
Mm.
They grow stronger.
Again, what we think could be the U-Wing. The whole team dismounted from it, fighting in the Maldives.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
Always the optimist.
He means well.
X-Wings. I wonder if these are the pilots we see captured. Oh, bazooka on the at.
That's a great one. I love that. There's the head tilt when the actual explosion happens on the side of the AT-AT is a really good shot.
Yeah, it's like it's just been like a bear stung by a wasp. It's just noticed them, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What I like about them is it reinforces the fact that this is a small ground infantry unit. They're on the foot with whatever equipment and weaponry they can basically carry. And they've still got this heavy Imperial armour to take on, and they've got a specific sort of anti-armour weapon. I mean, I just called it bazooka, but you get the gist of it. Some sort of shoulder-mounted rocket weapon that it's the only thing they've got they can take this thing on. But I think it reinforces the feeling of a small number of ground troops as opposed to a broader, expansive battle where we're seeing speeders or what have you, or turrets taking these things on.
Yeah.
It's what these guys can carry.
And it's like Omaha Beach, isn't it? They're just straight out onto the, and it looks like dangerous, doesn't it?
It is Saving Private Ryan, isn't it? The landing craft hits the shore, the ramp goes round, and immediately they're straight into German machine gun fire. And there's the laser fire flying around as they're running from getting dropped off on this ship. Yeah, it looks very fast moving on this beach, and like you say, bringing the AT-AT down. I like the feeling of this. It's very, like you say, very much the Dirty Dozen, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers. It's kind of no hold bar sort of land warfare, isn't it?
And it is the underdog against the might of the Empire, isn't it? That's completely. The thing that when you watch this second trailer, you do get a feel of camaraderie, and you want them to succeed. So,
I mean, obviously, it's a small unit. They're up against it to start with.
Yep.
You've got one guy who's blind, another guy who's a straight-laced rebel captain, someone else who's a scoundrel, and somehow they're trying to a droid, a former Imperial droid who's got a bit of an attitude problem. Somehow this is supposed to become some sort of special forces disciplined unit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great story. Back to Forrest Whitaker here, looking a little bit haggard.
Good hair in this one.
My speculation is he's the Sage character.
Yeah.
Or he could possibly, he coming back later on to influence the outcome of this story, I think.
And I mean, like we saw in The Force Awakens with Finn, I think a lot of these guys could have probably worked for the Empire in the past, or been members of the Empire and become disillusioned and stuff like that, And that's what it looks like, I think, because obviously the Empire was offering jobs across the the whole galaxy. So I think that people didn't have a choice but to serve the Empire. And perhaps, they've seen what they've done.
Yeah, but it's that situation where the Empire has won, it's firmly in control, you could oppose it, but you've got to try and live your life under that regime, so you work in that regime.
Yeah.
But as time goes by, like you said, you might have been disenfranchised to start with, and that may have become more reinforced and entrenched in your feelings. You see more injustices, social injustices, and the way people are treated, a heavy hand. Your own resentment might grow further, and then you might witness acts of uprising and other people's resentment and a general feeling of a populace, and that may well then inspire you to join that cause.
I think subsidised lunches, if they stopped doing it, if they took away my lunch, that's it, I'm joining the rebels.
There's got to be a perk to working for the Empire,
There has to be, surely.
You've got to have a decent pension, like you say, a good bonus scheme, subsidised lunches, free uniform.
Yeah.
You've got to have everything here, really. But these guys, obviously they've got to a stage where enough is enough, and if there's some way they can take the Empire on, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So we see Forrest Whitaker again.
That's interesting.
There's the TIE fighter.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. That's such a money shot, isn't it?
There we are. Lord Vader at the end. There was a shot there we saw, and it was like a dust storm or something over the top of the U-wing with Diego Luna and Felicity Jones, not looking like they're going to get out. Could that be like a Death Star attack and the world sort of coming down around them or something like that?
I don't know.
Because, and they managed to jump to light speed. But is that at that moment, or is it a separate scene? Did they actually do that then?
That could be from an earlier scene where they transit into this world.
That
quite
could
easily.
be. So just to confuse us, but
I think personally my favourite scene there is Felicity Jones walking along that sort of catwalk, that walkway thing, and the TIE fighter comes up.
Yeah,
I think it's visually outstanding.
She's obviously injured as well, isn't she? She's sort of limping in that scene. So, is it a friendly TIE fighter? Does she get in the TIE fighter? You know, because we've talked about that she's certainly in a flight suit.
But she's not in one there.
No, but maybe they open it up and she gets in. Maybe it's Diego Luna or something like that.
Could be the droid, perhaps.
Yeah.
This is that's that scene. Perhaps is to leave you wondering: is this an Imperial TIE fighter come up to threaten her, or is it one of her team that's managed to get hold of a TIE fighter?
Such as the Scout Walker in Return of the Jedi, you know, where Chewie's in control.
Yeah, Chewie's sitting in there. He's sitting in a TIE fighter with a couple of Ewoks.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Nice to see Darth Vader at the end. That's I meant to mention that about K2SO with Alan Tudyk. The best thing about reshoots and putting more humour in the film is with like a character like that, you don't have to see the mouth moving. You don't know what they were saying the first time, but they could edit it and change it quite easily, couldn't they, to make it more jovial. As we know, James Earl Jones is voicing Darth Vader again, which is wonderful.
Authenticity. Do we know who the physical actor is?
I don't know.
Who the Dave Prowse is for 2016?
He's not on the list here I've got of the cast. What I have found here is the moment everyone was waiting for, Lord Darth Vader himself. What's interesting here, however, is the fact that there is a slightly different shot from that scene in the Celebration trailer. Though they appear to both take place in the same location, some sort of mission control centre for the Death Star's construction. That may not say much, though. It's probably important to adjust expectations, as Vader's role will likely not be much more than a brief but nicely sinister cameo.
The fanboy moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of talk in various forums and threads that they want to see Vader full on. They want to see him with his lightsaber out, going through hordes of rebel troops and just slaying them. I can't see that happening. I can't see the rebels themselves having that much of an army. I think at the moment it's still fractured into different splinter cells or different agenda groups across the galaxy, as opposed to being a rebel alliance. It's groups possibly unified in the idea of uprising and resistance, but not under any one hat or on any one organisation. So I can't see where the rebel alliance has an organised land army that we see by the time of A New Hope, and certainly The Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, and later on with their own teams that they land on Endor in the original trilogy. I can't see the Rebel Alliance being at that stage yet. You know, it hasn't got these different people that are coming in, Imperial defectors and disillusioned people from all these different worlds. I think if we do see a full-on Vader and he's got the old lightsaber out swinging it about, force powers on collections and groups of individuals, it will be in a scene where Imperial troops are putting down a local uprising. A bit like the opening of The Force Awakens, where we see the stormtroopers come down and assault the village. Kylo Ren lands, okay, Kylo Ren misses the fighting, but I think Vader would be a bit more proactive in any fighting. Yeah. Obviously that was a different thing. They were after the rebel pilot and the droid, etc., or the resistance pilot, and the droid. Whereas this could, if we do see Vader, I think it will be in a case of putting down a local uprising, a scene like that. But I think to you, a bit like what you said, it's got to be more giving the fanboys that shot, one or two little cameos in there, as opposed to focusing on them to that degree. Mm-hmm. Could be wrong. That's just my own speculation.
Well, you know, we've been right about these things, and also we've been wrong. So
we've been bang on the money, and we've missed by a mile.
Yeah, we have. There was a scene earlier in the U-Wing with Riz Ahmed.
Assuming it's a U-Wing.
Assuming it's
we don't know it is.
Who plays Bodhi Rook, or Rook. Now he's...
yeah.
That was interesting. That's the first shot we've seen of him, and he was kind of looking back as Diego Luna is talking with Felicity Jones. So we got Jyn Erso, director Orson Krennic was seen. We didn't see Mads Mikkelsen as Galen Erso, as her father. Also in the cast, we've got Lyra Erso, played by Velan Kane. So her mother and father are still alive, which is quite a novelty in this galaxy, isn't it? So, maybe we will see them being tortured or, captured. We know that Galen Erso was one of the architects behind the Death Star, wasn't he?
Right.
So,
possibly why she would be a selection then to be part of this team, that she might have slightly more intimate knowledge if Dad's coming home with paperwork regarding the Death Star in his lunchbox.
Yeah.
or he's working on it in his study in the evening, something like that, perhaps.
What are you working on today, Daddy? Oh, this is Super Battle Station.
And we know Jyn Erso, Felicity Jones's character, is something of a scoundrel.
Yeah.
When the rebels bring her in shackles, you get the impression that neither the rebels or the Empire, or possibly even her own family, could control her. She's going through the galaxy making her own way.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously proficient at doing so. So perhaps the rebels are counting on the fact that she might not necessarily have loyalty to what her dad did for a living or does for a living. Perhaps she's disenfranchised with the Empire because of the Empire's treatment of her father.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, there's so many open ways they could play that and make it valid.
Another cast member I wanted to mention, Warwick Davis.
Yeah, you said about this earlier on.
Do you remember in the celebration behind the scenes show reel that we saw, there was the gunner on the craft, like a small rodent. He's called Bistan, and that's Warwick Davis in this.
Okay.
So you got the droids K2SO and Bistan the rodent. So well, at least we're not getting all humans. We're getting like a mix of different races, whatever the rodent race is.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting way how they've played it in Rogue One, because the cast, other than the droid, obviously is predominantly human, but it's quite a multi-ethnic looking cast.
It is, yeah.
I mean, you've got your sort of Anglo-Saxon and Felicity Jones, you've got a Spaniard with Diego Luna. I think the rest of them are from a variety of different areas. I mean, Forrest Whitaker, obviously Afro-American. It's quite a multi-ethnic human cast, isn't it?
It is. I think Donnie Yen, and he's obviously Japanese, isn't it, Donnie Yen?
I believe so.
Ken Luang is Chinese. So yeah, and I mean he brought a kind of samurai aspect to it. That moment with you destroyed our home, when he's firing at the stormtroopers, that's quite a powerful moment.
Obviously, that's his personal motivation.
Yeah.
He's a bit, to me, he comes across a bit like the Polish pilots in the Battle of Britain. They've lost their own country, but the Royal Air Force has given them an opportunity to get back at the people that did it, and they take it. That's kind of the ideology that I'm thinking of with this guy, that perhaps his own home, his own world, his own family is lost, but the Rebel Alliance has given him a chance to, at least in some way, fight back.
Yeah.
That kind of motivation to him. But it is quite a multi-ethnic looking cast, and I think we're kind of getting lost in that, because obviously that's given us a broad variety of really interesting characters in the main cast, but we are kind of losing track that the Star Wars universe is broader, and there would be all these different species that can come in. So obviously they've got to come into play somewhere, haven't they?
That's right.
Different alien races and this, that, and the other.
As we revealed during the week on hot.wampa, Jimmy Smits is returning as Bail Organa.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's actually in this film. So where he fits in, I don't know. Is he still trying to, is he involved in diplomacy, or is he just, full on supporting the rebels?
Possibly. I mean, we know he was like a senator, a politician in Revenge of the Sith Episode 3, and that in that movie he has some dialogue and interaction with another senator, Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
We also know that he is the owner of the Tantive 4, the ship under the Rebel blockade runner, the Carillion Corvette, whatever you want to call it, which is the opening ship the Empire are chasing as the Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope opens. That's the Consular ship. That's Princess Leia's ship over Tatooine. That's a Royal Alderaanian household ship. He's the owner of that ship. It's a bit like Air Force One for him, kind of thing, a state ship. And that's that. So possibly that's the connection. Obviously, somewhere along the line, these plans get delivered to R2-D2 on that ship. And we see also at the end of Revenge of the Sith that he takes ownership of both droids, don't we?
Yeah, that's right.
C-3PO and R2-D2, which would explain why they would be on this ship. They would be working droids on his ship. So that might be how he comes into play. It could be his links to Mon Mothma, or it could simply be his background rebel sympathies, the fact that he's owning that ship and he's surrendered that ship to that purpose.
Yeah.
It could be anything. I mean, obviously something happened to Bail Organa, whether he got blown up with Alderaan when that got super lasered, or whether he got rounded up by the Imperials before that in question, we don't know. And
also he knows a bit more about Yoda and Ben Kenobi, so there's those links as well.
But plus the history of his own adopted daughter, he knows who her real father and mother actually is, as he would know who Luke's real mother and father is and where Luke is. So
So what age are we putting Leia and Luke in this?
Well, obviously it finishes. It's about the plans to deliver the Death Star, so late teens as they are in A New Hope, aren't
Yeah,
they?
that's right.
This is very much coming into the universe just before A New Hope.
Yeah.
But I think with it, the expanse looking broader with these different worlds, we're going to see a little bit of Imperial control on both modern cosmopolitan planets, built-up planets, and also on the more sort of third world backwater planets. So I think we're going to see a bit of a historical nod, as it were, out in that expanded universe and the broad range of these worlds, where we get to see those little references, where we'll see equipment or ships or local militias from the prequel trilogy, because out there in the backwaters, out there in the galactic fens, things might not quite be up to date with the rest of the galaxy. So I think it's probably going to be a bit of a mashup in the feeling of this film of everything we've seen so far.
It can only enrich what we already know, I think. It can only add to that, a bit more colour to the water.
Yeah.
I think, there will be fans who will be scrutinising it, obviously. It needs to be correct, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, there's still a lot of fans. The fact that Lucasfilm basically ditched the old EU and picked and chose what it wanted from the EU and carried it forward. Some things became canon, some things didn't. Yeah, I mean, there's two ways. The EU kind of went and ran off as its own thing, and it got too big for anyone to keep track of it, so I guess they had to rein it in. I think there do need to be them fanboy nods, though.
Yeah.
The little tie-ins to give people those moments. But, yeah.
Well, we will find out. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, hits UK theatres 16th of December.
What's your overall feeling about it and what you've seen?
Well, I'm excited, one, to have another Star Wars film so soon.
Yes.
Which is always good. And it's nice that we're seeing something different, separately, filmed in a way that they've, I don't know, like Caravan of Courage, or they were standalone Star Wars films. And what was the other one? There was Ewoks Caravan.
There was, I think,
Battle for Endor.
Yeah, an Ewok Adventure or Caravan. I don't know.
And they're pretty disregarded now, but as kids, they were an extension to what we loved. And as bad as they look today, and that's what I feel this is. In a way, it's just like a continuation. We're carrying on, we're getting something new, until episode 8 comes along.
But they kind of felt more to me like straight to VHS type projects.
Of course, but when, I don't know, how old were we when they came out?
I don't know.
9, 10?
Possibly around that.
Yeah, and so they were good,
Yeah, I mean, this feels to me more of a standalone blockbuster.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've seen, I really like the feel of it. I think it's a bit of a nod to the more grown-up fan.
Yeah.
And the palette of it, I think it can be really interesting. I think it's got the potential, like I said, to look at a broader galaxy and what's going on politically in a broader galaxy and have that focus through a small group of people.
Yeah. And, whoever survives, we're going to be asking what will become of them after.
Well, this is it, and perhaps there's future scope for them to come back, whether it be in another Star Wars film, the way they've done in the cartoons with the character of Ahsoka Tano, whether it's possibly in Rebels or something like that some of these guys survive but have to hide up. I mean, I think with this cast, like I said, we've got a multi-ethnic cast. It's a very interesting cast. It looks to me like each one of these individuals is very much a character, and I think during the film we're going to find ourselves getting attached to possibly most of this cast and invested in them. And I think that could be a dangerous thing, because I think some of them aren't going to be there at the end of it.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
Don't get used to any character. Yeah, they might not make it. But yeah, it doesn't seem too far away now, does it? December. I mean,
no.
It certainly comes by. Maybe we could do another midnight show.
Well, at least I haven't got to drive there this time.
Yeah,
well, hopefully we'll have a cinema by then.
Yeah, we can see the shadow of Cineworld floating over Ely as we speak.
We'll be able to walk like an eclipse on the Death Star.
Yeah, it's coming. We don't have much time.
Yeah, Will Law's leading an uprising to get the plans and bring it out.
And his bunch of rebels.
Hopefully we will by December. We'll be able to walk through the urine-stained underpass up the other side.
I can't wait for the graffiti and the pee.
Past Will Law's one man sitting with his dog there in his sleeping bag, and we're just walking and watch it. But we'll have to see. So hopefully we'll have it by then, and we won't have to go all the way to Cambridge or Huntington or something like that to see it. But yeah, I mean, I think I still feel like I'm looking forward to this more than I am the Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Force Awakens, to me, whilst I loved it and it was everything it needed to be, felt very much like a franchise Star Wars film, whereas this feels more like it's more of a nod to me and what I emotionally and dramatically enjoy in a movie. It's a little bit grittier, and we're going to have a look at these characters and we're going to have a look at this world, as opposed to something that moves very quickly from exotic locale and locale. I feel like we're going to get to know this film a little bit more.
And we're going to get a lot of action, which I think we want to see. We don't want to see too much plot and dialogue. We want to see them getting in there, you know, trying to get the plans and, you know, what happens to them.
Oh, visually, it looks stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was in the TIE fighter coming up there. It's a fantastic view. Jyn Erso on the walkway there, her hair getting blown about. She's obviously at height on a cliff face or something. Like you said, the attack getting bazookaed, like a jab in the side of the chin. Visually, it looks fantastic.
And these are thespians with accolades. You know, when you look at, obviously, James Earl Jones, but when you look at Forrest Whitaker, Felicity Jones, Ben Mendelsohn's a great actor.
Yes.
Mads Mikkelsen. You know, you've got some really, really solid actors there that can portray characters, you know, with grit and determination.
This whole group looks interesting.
Yeah.
There isn't a boring-looking individual amongst this whole group, is there?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see this. It looks fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of speculation. Some people are dissing it in forums already.
Yeah,
some people, it's just had their hunger to see it reinforced. They've liked what they've seen. Personally, I am looking forward to this more than The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, for some reason what I've seen so far just appeals to me and my palate more.
Yeah, I think because it's something new, something fresh, something that, you know, although it's situated somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
I think it is a new bunch of characters, you know.
Yeah. Should we wrap up? We said we'd look to do about 40 minutes.
Yeah, let's
44 minutes.
Let's leave our listeners to decide how they feel about it. Please get in contact as always.
Yeah, not just to put me wrong, well, put me right where I've got facts wrong.
Yeah, just to say how you feel. Are you looking forward to it? You know, where will you go to watch it? You know, what do you think of the fate of the characters that we've spoken about?
Oh, like I said, everything we've spoken about this is based on what we've seen.
Yep.
It's our speculation. None of it is fact. If we hit the bullseye, we hit the bullseye. If we miss it by a million miles, we miss it by a million miles. But it's just us drawing what we can out of what we've seen.
And you've seen this trailer too. I mean, you know,
you might have thought of other things or valid points or different ways it can go that we've not discussed.
Exactly.
Let us know about it. If it's, you know, something worth talking about, we can put it in the show.
Yeah, if you want to email us your thoughts, it's hot.wampa@yahoo.co.uk. On Twitter @hot.wampa, and obviously our Facebook page.
Yeah, we can take written text, or we can take vocal reviews and put them in the show.
Mm.
If you've got something you're really burning to say, let us know and we'll Skype you.
Exactly.
We've done that and that works now.
It does, yeah. We can Skype and have a good chat and record it and get it into the show.
Yeah, and if it's something you really vocally want to say about it, and you've got a good point and want that dialogue with us, God, there's a podcast special there.
Yeah.
But that's up to listeners to give us that feedback and share their thoughts if they want to be so passionate about it. We'll engage with them if they want to do that.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we'll carry on getting it wrong by ourselves.
Yeah, and then people can be cursing as they're listening to us.
Yeah, and pointing out our inaccuracies. So, I don't know, let's close it down. So, thank you for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah.
With something or other. Okay, bye-bye, take care.